Hello, everybody. It's week 2 of our remote learning, and we have our new reading. So last week's reading was on March Madness, and kudos to all of you. You guys got on an average of a 94% on that assessment. So 94, that's amazing. I was really proud of you guys. You did a great job in that March Madness reading, so in the assessment. So really proud of you. Great job. Hopefully we can repeat that this week on our Census 2020. So we've talked about the census, especially if you're in my social studies class. We've talked about it before. We completed our census for our household this week while we were on our lockdown or whatever you want to call it. So what we are looking at here, so 2020 census from News to You on March 23rd. That's today on Monday. So the U.S., I'm going to actually read this caption here. So a woman from the Census Bureau talking about the 2020 census. So the Census Bureau, that's something we're going to be learning about in our reading today. So the U.S. will have a census in 2020. A census counts every person living in an area. The 2020 census will count every person living in the United States. The law says the U.S. must have a census every 10 years. The first U.S. census was in 1790, and the most recent census was in 2010. So everybody think, how old were you in 2010? I was personally 10. Fun fact. I was 10 years old. Yep, it's true. Don't worry about the math there. The 2010 census counted 307.8 million people living in the United States. A lot of people. A government group called the Census Bureau is in charge of each census. The Census Bureau uses the census to gather information about people living in the U.S. Page 2. Some more so these are some members of the House of Representatives right here. And so it looks like, who's that right there? Guess, everybody make a guess. It's George Washington. The information from the census helps the United States government make important decisions. One decision is about the House of Representatives, which is part of the U.S. government. The House of Representatives always has 435 representatives, divided among the 500, that is wrong, divided among the 50 U.S. states. There are 50 U.S. states, not 500. 50. Each state gets a certain number of representatives, based on how many people live in that state. Every 10 years, the government uses information from the census to decide how many representatives each state gets. States with more people can get more representatives. States with fewer people can get fewer representatives. So click on the video link and we'll have to look into that. So is this a link? Okay, click it. If that's a link, which it might be. Oh, it is. I will post that to our reading as well. We don't have to watch this whole thing. Oh, looks pretty interesting though. So I'll post that. You guys can watch that. Oh, it says 30 seconds. Okay, let's watch it. Let's do it.
How does the 2020 census affect representation? There are 435 seats in the House of Representatives. These get distributed to the 50 states by population, and an accurate census response helps your state get the right amount of seats. States with smaller populations get at least one, while states with larger populations might get more. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
So New York State being a more populated state, we do have more. Oh, how do I get back to my reading? We do have some more representation. Okay, and we're back. All right, look at that. Workers repairing a road. A that'll work. And page 3. The government uses census information to understand the needs of states and local communities. The government gives money to states and local communities to help those needs. States and local communities may use the money to start after-school programs or job training programs. They may use the money to build hospitals and schools, improve neighborhoods, repair roads, and buy buses. Businesses use information from the census to make decisions too. Businesses may decide to open new stores, restaurants, factories, or offices in areas where more people live. Page 4. A young woman looking through her mail. How does the Census Bureau do a census? So in a census year like 2020, the Census Bureau sends letters and census forms to every home in the U.S. in March. Ooh, it's currently March. The letter tells people about the census and why it is important. The census form has a list of questions about the people living in each home. Some questions ask what the address of the home is and how many people live at that address. Some questions ask the name, age, and birthday of each person. Everyone must answer the questions. The census is part of the U.S. law. So those questions, as I said, so in my email, we actually did our census earlier this past week, or maybe this weekend, I can't remember exactly. And it asked those questions, so we had to say that, our children and when they were born, and my wife and I, and when we were born, and everything. So answering all of those questions. Page number 5. So this is somebody filling it out on pen and paper, a person filling out the census form. I did my census form online, which we're going to learn about in a minute. People can answer the questions to the census on the census forms and then mail the forms back to the Census Bureau. The 2020 census has something new. In 2020, people can choose to answer the questions online or on the phone. Workers from the Census Bureau may visit some homes in the U.S. The workers count the people living in the homes and ask questions from the census forms. The 2020 census will count every person living in the United States. The census will count you, your family, your friends, your teachers, and more. How many people do you think are living in the United States in 2020? I wonder. So in 2010, they said there were 307.8 million people. So I wonder if there's more, less, or the same amount of people now living in the United States. Got a quick video here that we can watch as well. All right, we have a 2-minute video, so we will watch that, but the reading is done. So if you only needed the reading is done. I will add the link to this video, or you can get it through the PDF, which is in here. So, but just if you want to watch the video, let's watch.
Ever since I was little, I've known it's important to count the right number. Like the number of scoops I got in my ice cream cone. Hey, I asked for 5. Or the number of coins in my piggy bank. I remember this one time in class. Our teacher, Mr. Noor, came in with a surprise for us. It was his birthday, so he brought cupcakes for everyone. But there was a problem. He had 15 cupcakes, and there were 20 of us in class. Mr. Noor should have counted more carefully when he was taking attendance. Counting is also really important for the U.S. Census Bureau. In the spring of 2020, it will count every person who lives in the United States. They call this count the 2020 census. It's just like when your teacher takes attendance in class, except it's for the whole country. For the 2020 census, the Census Bureau needs every person to tell the country they are here, in every home, in every neighborhood, in every state, on every U.S. island territory. Everywhere! Tell the adults in your home to make sure they count everyone who lives with you. That includes grandparents, uncles and aunts, cousins, even people who aren't related to you who live with you. Make sure they count every kid, even babies who are 1 day old. Make sure they count you too, but not the cat. It's really important to count everyone. Why? Because the correct count for the 2020 census helps the government figure out what your community needs. That can mean more schools, teachers, classroom computers, or after-school activities and programs. It can also mean more help for things like parks and playgrounds, housing, roads, hospitals, and so much more. The 2020 census starts in the spring, and April 1st is Census Day. Ask a grown-up in your home to circle April 1st on the calendar as a reminder to complete the census. Help us make sure we get the right count. Then we can all celebrate! Tell all of the adults in your home to make sure you're counted in the 2020 census. Learn more at 2020census.gov.
All right, and there you have it. So 2020 census, good reading and interesting topic. So there's also Brain Pop, which I will link. So if that interests you, check that out. And don't forget to do your census. All right, everybody, thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye.